Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to On the Bright Line podcast, tales from recovering food addicts from the perspective of a physician, a therapist, and an off-the-wall storyteller. We are not affiliated or endorsed by Brightline Eating, and all content presented in this podcast represents our personal opinions and does not represent medical, nutritional, or psychological professional advice. Hello, and welcome to 2024. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome to On the Bright Line podcast. It is January 1st, 2024, and we are going to talk about New Year's resolutions today and whether we think they're valuable or not.
And I was just thinking we might have some new people listening to us.
Yep.
So we might want to kind of identify our voices.
Oh, that's really smart. Since and we're officially going to make this season 2, so you guys are seeing the nuts and bolts of it behind right now. But this is season 2, starting with season 2, episode 1, since it's the new year. So that's a good idea, Robin. I really like that. So we'll start with you, since it was your idea.
I'm Robin. I'm a psychotherapist in the Pacific Northwest.
And Bonnie.
I am Bonny Olney. I am also in the Pacific Northwest and a physician and a bright lifer.
And I am Meagan, and I am also in the Pacific Northwest. We identify me as the off-the-wall storyteller. I'm the host of this podcast, and I am also a bright lifer. I'm still in weight loss, so I just celebrated my 1-year BLE anniversary. So I've been on BLE for a year, and I'm still in weight loss. I'm slowly getting to goal weight, just so everybody can identify us by our voices, possibly.
There we go.
So we are, again, going to talk about New Year's resolutions, goal setting, all things that, people start to think about on January 1st. Because I know, culturally, especially here in the United States, I'm not sure about other places in the world, if this is the same, has the same sentiment. But for some reason, January 1st comes and we all feel like we need to do a new year, new me.
Right.
Hashtag. So anyway, all that to say, we're just going to talk about what's valuable to us as far as goal setting, New Year's resolutions, maybe some strategies to think about if you are going to do goal setting for the year. I don't necessarily think that we're going to say it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to do goal setting. I just think it's important to examine, why you're doing it, your motivations, and that sort of thing. So, Robin, I know you've got some things to say.
Right. So I think resolutions get a really bad rap because everyone has the experience of, I set that resolution every year that I'm going to do this thing, and then it never happens, right? So resolutions are awful and horrible. The problem with resolutions is that most people don't do the work of figuring out how are they going to make that resolution occur? How are they going to be successful at that, right? There's a lot of studies that show that 8% of resolutions are successful, right? 8%. But
That's higher than I thought.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
Right?
I was like, that's kind of depressing.
But it's that most people don't do the work of then setting the specific goals and coming up with the plan, right? Because I might say, well, my resolution this year is to be healthier, right? But
I was like, what does that mean?
Exactly. But then, so what's the specific goal? So the goal is the definition of an outcome, right? That's the what.
Right.
Right? And the plan is the how. It's the definition of the process. How will I reach that goal?
Okay.
What are the steps to me? If I say I want to be healthier this year, and my goal is to, maybe I want to lose, 30 pounds this year. The plan is how will I go about making that occur? Right. So if I said I want to lose my 30 pounds, what would be then some very concrete pieces of that plan? Right. And so the plan is the how. I think the struggle that a lot of people have is they get caught up in the thinking about the plan, in the planning.
Oh, planning of the plan?
The planning of the plan.
Okay.
And then they don't get to the doing, right? Because it's really it's kind of fun to get caught up in the plan and the planning and the Pinterest board and the Instagram accounts that I'm going to follow and the blah, 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 blah. And I got to buy the workout gear. I got to choose, I have clients all the time. Well, first I've got to figure out the workout gear, and then I've got to go find the gym that I'm going to go to, and blah, 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 blah. I got to read the book, right?
Right.
The other piece is the intention. It's the why. Why do I want to do this thing? What's my motivation?
Right.
Right. And so I think sometimes people just get lost in the struggle to really define what it is that they want to do.
Right. So let's talk specifically about, because, this podcast is about, weight loss and bright line eating and using this program to become healthy. Let's talk about the goal setting of weight loss and the New Year's resolutioning of weight loss. And I just, Bonnie, I know that you didn't start on January 1st of the year that you started BLE.
Right.
So let's talk about that. What was the catalyst to get you to start? I mean, and I know we've talked about this on last season on previous podcasts, but let's just, gloss back over that. Like, what was the catalyst to get you to start, and why was it not January 1st? Why was it not a New Year's resolution?
Yeah, I think, I've never set a New Year's resolution that I kept. And to be honest, I've never set a New Year's resolution that I even remembered I set beyond January. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Well, but that's indicative of like they say the gym membership thing. Like everybody joins the gym and then by February, nobody's
Because I
there.
think like Robin's saying, there's no true intention and purpose behind it. Like, I just want to be magically healthy at the end of the year. All right. Well, if, I'm clearly not ready when I'm making a statement like that to really commit to like the BLE program and all the things that go with it. I think when a lot of people set the goal of, I just want to lose 40 pounds for that wedding or that thing, it's just ridiculously short-sighted, and it means you're already planning on gaining the weight back.
Right.
Right? You're planning on getting that number, and then you have no plan after that. Right?
Yeah.
So for me, my weight just going up and up and up, trying a lot of different things that didn't work. And then just my sister shared a BLE, food freedom video with me. It resonated with me. And instead of just saying, I'm going to do this, I was like, I'm skeptical. I'm going to read the book. And then I read the book, and then I'm like, I'm still skeptical whether I'll be able to do this.
Right.
And I made a plan. I made a plan for how I was going to do it. We talked about, like, every time I've ever dieted before, I just threw out all the food, bought the gym membership, did the thing, bought the things, did the things without that plan of how that was really going to get enacted. And this time I knew, like, if I just throw out all the food in 2 weeks, I'll be buying that food again.
Right.
So we literally did a whole thing of eating the rest of the food that it was in our house that was not BLE compliant and grieving over it and saying goodbye to it. I mean, we made a concerted plan to how we were going to start and follow through with BLE. So I think the whole idea of making a New Year's resolution that is hollow or simplistic is never going to be successful. But making a goal, or even the New Year's resolution is, I'm going to initiate actually working on the plan that will help me succeed at this very large and difficult goal that I've set for myself.
Right.
And writing it down, planning it out, and that it doesn't have to magically start on a certain day to be okay. Because the reality is, I want to be healthy for the rest of my life. Right. Not just to achieve a certain thing by the December 31st.
Right. And I think, we can talk more about goal setting and goal tracking. I don't know if there's a word around that I'm looking for, but I think, I'll talk about my own personal experience. So I started at the end of November of 2022. So I had all of December before January 1st hit. And it was interesting because at that point I had started with my mastermind group, which the people who are not in the BLE community. A mastermind group is a group of normally like 3 or 4 people. It's your support group. Basically, you get together, on a weekly basis and talk about, how things are going, and even do some goal setting. We call them commitments, but do some goal setting for the week and that sort of thing. But one of my mastermind group members, Carla, actually is the one who encouraged me to make a year goal for last year, because she did goal setting for 2023, and I was like, that's a good idea. Like, what can I do? And one of the things that she said, which I had never done in the past previously, was you write down your goal every day. So it's part of my daily journaling is to write down that what my yearly goal was. But not only that, it was, and Carla's, I'm sure she's in the background saying, Meagan, you're saying it wrong, but I'm going to try really hard. So you write down the goal, you write down what you're going to do today to achieve that, and then why it's achievable. I think those are the three things. There's three things I write down every day. And so basically it's like, this is my goal. This is what I'm doing today to, achieve my goal. And this is why it's achievable, basically. And so my goals for last year was my first goal was to lose 100 pounds in 2023 and to hike 365 miles. I only achieved one of those. And it was to lose 100 pounds, which is not the one I thought I was going to achieve. I really thought I was going to achieve the hiking goal, and I did not. But I think it's because of BLE that I didn't, because in a good way, I allowed myself the grace to not have to over-exercise and work out to lose weight and all those things. So interestingly enough, I was able to lose the weight. I'm more than 100 pounds down, but that's because I had already lost some weight when we got to January 1st, and I started that goal on January 1st. But the hiking goal, not that it went by the wayside, but that it didn't seem as vital in the grand scheme of things. And it was like, okay, if I don't reach it, it's totally fine.
Because at the end of the day, when you're writing down what you're going to do the next day, you're prioritizing your BLE program over those miles, which is really great. You're doing that as you go along, right? That you're constantly reprioritizing. Adjusting. And I think the bigger picture of what you just said, which is so important, is the accountability. Yeah. And so when you set a goal or a New Year's resolution or whatever, you need to build accountability to that instead of just blanketly like, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Yeah. Well, not only am I going to make a plan, but I'm going to be accountable to my mastermind group or to my whoever, right? That you're going to have some accountability.
Right. However you're going to do that, right? Like I have a notes program, and every year I put down some things that I would like to achieve that year, right? I check that about once a month at least and go, okay, well, how am I doing? I said I wanted to, learn this new thing. I wanted to, like this year I had put down that I wanted to hike Mailbox, which is a difficult trail up here.
I still haven't done it.
Right. And so I would love that to be a goal that perhaps we do next year.
We could do it all together.
Right. That we could do a podcast from the top of the mailbox. Right. I know we can't.
We're not going to podcast from the top of the mailbox.
But that idea of that for me, these are things that I want to achieve, and by writing them down and by making sure that I check in with them about once a month of, okay, how am I doing? Am I doing that thing that I said that I wanted to do, right? It helps keep me accountable for that.
Well, and it helps keep it in the front of your mind. I think that's the other thing, is that it's easy to get busy and, forget and all that. So, I think the New Year's resolutioning, it's hard because it's one of the things that I think the goal setting for the year is important. I think that making goals, setting goals, having commitments, accountability to goals is really important. But making this blanket. And I think the other thing that I just want to remind people is that I have a goal weight, but my goal has never been around just losing weight. I started my BLE journey because of ridiculously horrible lab values that have now normalized, which is so if I'm tracking that, then I've already reached my goal. Not that I'm going to stop doing BLE, because that is not the goal. Unlike other diets, the goal is to get to weight and then not do it anymore. But the nice and the hard thing both is that, BLE is a lifestyle. And for the first time in my life, it really is a lifestyle change. And that this is something that I plan to do for the rest of my life, because for me, this has been the healthiest way for me to live. So, have you done goal setting for 2024? Have you thought about, besides Mailbox?
Besides Mailbox, right? For me, it usually revolves around certain physical activities that I would like to accomplish, certain things that I would like to learn or get better at. And a lot of those seem to relate to who I want to be as a person, right? So it's getting back to that intention of, why do I want to do these things? And it's because I want to be the type of person that continues to grow and learn and become that best version of me.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's why intention and figuring out your why is so important when it comes to goal setting, right? Because I've had a lot of clients say, oh, well, I want to, do X, Y, Z. And when we get to the why, it's like, well, because doing X, Y, Z seemed like a good idea, or everybody else was doing X, Y, Z. And it's like, you cannot push yourself when things get hard and the poop hits the fan. You cannot push yourself to achieve a goal that you really don't get a why for, right? That why is not personal, because then the commitment just won't be there.
Right. What about you, Bonnie?
So when I reached my goal weight, well over a year ago, I did not invest enough time in the maintenance modules and the maintenance process. And so I got a little wobbly with my lines, and then I kind of justified it or rationalized it, I guess. And so it's not like I regained all my weight. I regained a few pounds, but I lost some of my peace. And so my goal, and honestly, started before New Year's Day, is to really come all the way in, sit all the way in,
Come all the way in,
sit all the way down.
Right.
And I've been going back through the maintenance modules again, trying to really internally examine why I let that happen.
Right.
And just tightening up my program and getting, and again, forever, tightening it up for the long haul. So that's kind of been my goal again before the beginning of the year, not specific to setting a New Year's resolution, but that is my current mode that I'm in right now, is I need to continue to fully embrace, doing this very carefully and cleanly forever. And already just getting back into that mode, the peace came back immediately. You know what I mean? I don't have the food chatter anymore. It's fixed that. And then I need to, as I go forward, I need to figure out how to maintain that and make a plan, not just commit. And I have a reason why, and the reason why is I don't enjoy having food chatter.
Right.
It's miserable. And so that's my why. I have a pretty strong why.
Right.
And I have a how, in that I'm moving through the modules again. I've been through those maintenance modules a long time ago. Excuse me. But going back through them has been helpful.
Yeah. And I think that's, that's really important, that I think that lifelong, what I hear from both of you is lifelong learning, whether that's around, BLE and your program, or whether that's around becoming the person you want to be. I think that those things are this, can be the same thing too, is that, Bonnie wants to live a life without food chatter and having peace around that. And I think that, there are tools, obviously, that we can use. One of the things I'm currently reading, Atomic Habits. It's a book about, it's a book about habit forming and how how to habit form, but also that it doesn't have to be huge. That's the first lesson I learned, is that it doesn't have to be, I want to lose 100 pounds. And granted, I was already on this journey last year when I made that goal, but my goal for this year around my weight loss is to get to maintenance. And I don't know what the number is. I have no idea what that number is, but I think that this year I will get to whatever maintenance is for me. I would guess. And if I don't, again, just like my 365 goal last year, which is also my goal this year, to do 365 miles, I can reset it for next year, but it's going to be in the forefront of my mind for 2024 that my goal is to continue with BLE and to get to maintenance, whatever that looks like. And I'm not putting a number around that like I did last year. I'm putting this is what I want to get into maintenance, because I've said this a lot lately, because I'm getting closer and closer to maintenance. I don't think that weight loss is the hard part of BLE. And that is a hard thing for people to hear and stomach, is that I've lost a proverbial crap ton of weight. A lot of weight, but it has been relatively easy. I think that maintaining weight loss, living this way for the rest of your life, navigating all the pitfalls of the society that we live in that's focused around food, after having come out of the holiday season, obviously, it's going to be a lifelong struggle, and that is going to be the hard thing.
That is known as the arrival fallacy.
Oh,
Right? So that it's this
we're going to get some
belief,
learning,
right?
some
It's
learnings right now.
It's this belief that when I get to X, right, when I get to my goal weight, I will therefore be happy.
Yeah, everything will be great.
Right? It'll all be great. And that isn't true. And again, some of it is the why do I want to do these things?
Right.
And who do I want to be?
Right.
Right? Not what size do I want to be? What size jeans do I want to fit into? But who do I want to be? And I think that in a lot of other weight loss programs, that gets lost.
Yeah.
Whereas with BLE, they're kind of talking about that all along the way, right? Of who are you in this larger picture of self, as opposed to what size are you?
I mean,
Well,
I've lost that weight
Yeah.
many times throughout my life.
Yep.
I have lost weight.
Yep.
And then what have I done? I've regained the weight.
Right.
We've all done that
Right.
so many times.
Right.
So the goal of losing weight is just silly because it's never achievable, because if your goal doesn't also include how to maintain that weight loss and stay
Yes.
in your bright body and be
Right.
healthy
Yep.
long term, I mean, what's the point of it?
Right.
It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to lose weight, and it is a lot of work even, in the BLE program.
Yeah.
But like you said, it is way more work to maintain it.
Yes.
And if you're not eyes open about that at the beginning, you're not ready.
Well, I think that, again, having this concept of lifelong learning, and that I've never arrived. I think
Right.
that's, that I think that no matter what, and again, like the shift, we talk about this a lot on this podcast, the shift of mentality behind thinking of my struggles with my weight has always been about food addiction. It wasn't about laziness, lack of motivation, slow metabolism, all the things that I told myself were
Right.
the reason why I had a weight problem, or that I was overweight. But the reality is that I have suffered from food addiction from a very young age. And so I would turn to food for comfort.
Yeah.
Like that is what
Yeah.
I would do. And now then 41, now 42 years old, being in this program, I've realized that for the rest of my life, I will be a food addict. No matter what I do, for the rest of my life, I'm going to be a food addict, and that I will have to continue to recenter and refocus. And that it might slip up at some point. But for the most part, like this is my goal. My goal and my resolution for the rest of my life is to be a healthy individual that is surviving and recovering from food addiction.
Well said.
Yeah. So I think that New Year's resolutions, as far as setting an intent for the year, is a healthy thing to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with setting a New Year's resolution, and more power to you, and cheers, with the coffee for that. But I think that we have to, we need to listen to Robin in this one and make sure that we, number one, have our why, because I think why, that's what I've heard in this in this session, is that why is important, but also like having a plan for how we're going to do it. And so there's just some encouragement from us for you guys for your New Year's resolution or goal setting for 2024. So again, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And as always, if you would like to submit some ideas for podcasts for us or have any questions for us, you can reach us at onthebrightlinepodcast@gmail.com or any of our socials. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.